In Islamic perspective, the concept of private property rights and social needs is guided by principle outlined in Islamic jurisprudence known as Sharia. While there isn't a strict separation between economic and social aspects in Islamic teachings, certain principles emphasize the balance between individual rights and societal welfare.
Private property rights and social needs from Fiqh perspectives include both legal and ethical dimensions. It is based on the teachings set by Allah that can be referred from the primary source, Al-Quran and Sunnah. It is followed by ijma, which is consensus, and qiyas, which is logical reasoning. From my perspective, to relate with this topic, needs refer to basic needs that are required by humans to survive as well as to live their life. In Islam, property is regarded as amanah by Allah that should be implemented by us, compromising right to property and ethical moral conduct towards property. I strongly believe that the Sharia law is complete and absolute, as it highlights each individual's rights with a focus on justice and fairness.
The Sharia that derive from Quran and Hadith guides ethical property rights in terms of the implementation of the guidance on what a person is allowed or prohibited from doing with his or her own property. It implies that ownership is having dominion over anything in accordance with the rule of law and has the power to do what he favors to what belongs to him. Besides that, taking into account that a person is not harming himself or others, nor is he being unjust to the society, it means that whatever he obtained will belong to him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created the law to be fair and just for all human beings, necessitating what each individual requires. It is the responsibility of humans as vicegerent to be mindful in using the resources such as private property wisely, so as to not disrupt the balance that exists in nature or affect other human beings. Interestingly, Islam does have the mechanism to balance the property rights and also social need, which one of them is zakat. Zakat is one of the pillars in Islam, which is an obligation for those who are Muslim and met the criteria as the zakat payer according to Hawl and Nisab. Islamic economics also mentions the importance of the ethical business practices and discourages exploitation. The concept of riba, which is usuri or interest, is strictly prohibited. Emphasizing fairness in economic transaction, this prohibition aims to prevent the concentration of wealth in a few hands and to ensure equitable distribution. Wallahu a'lam.
Private property rights and their relationship to social needs play a crucial role in shaping the economic social systems of both socialism and capitalism. So at first, socialism is a political ideology that aims to give workers share ownership of the tools, land and buildings that they use to make their products or provide services. In contrast, capitalism is often thought of as an economic system in which private actors own and control property in accord with their interests, demand and supply freely, set prices in markets in a way that can serve the best interests of society. Capitalism is closely linked to private property rights as it emphasizes individuals' ownership and control of property. While capitalism aims to serve societal interests through the market mechanism, critics argue that it can lead to income inequality and insufficient provision of certain essential services. However, socialism prioritizes social needs, aiming for a more equitable distribution of resources. The goal is to address basic needs, and it aims to align private property rights with social needs by emphasizing collective ownership, wealth distribution, and a focus on social equality. In summary, while capitalism relies on the protection of private property rights and the market to indirectly address social needs, socialism involves a more direct approach by redefining or limiting private property rights in favor of collective or state ownership to better meet the needs of the entire community.
Islam recognizes the importance of private property, viewing it is as fundamental right of individuals. This stems from the concept of mal or ownership, emphasized in Islamic jurisprudence. Islam places an emphasis on social justice and the welfare of community. This is as evident in the concept of zakat, mandatory charity that also serves to redistribute wealth and addresses the needs of the less fortunate. Quran encourages believers to give generously to those in need, promoting a sense of communal responsibility. Allah said in the Quran in Surah At-Tawbah verse 60, "The alms are meant only for those poor and needy and those who are in charge thereof, those whose hearts are to be reconciled and to free those in bondage, and to help those burdened with debt and for expenditure in the way of Allah, and for the wayfarer. This is an obligation from Allah. Allah is all-knowing, all-wise." The Islamic economics further encourages charitable initiatives and community projects, aligning with the idea of sadaqah, voluntary charity. This voluntary giving complements the mandatory zakat, showing a sense of solidarity and collective responsibility for societal well-being.
The Maqasid Shariah are fundamental principles that guide the interpretation and application of Shariah. This objective aim to preserve and promote essential values, including the protection of life, religion, intellect, lineage, and property. Private property right and social needs play a crucial role in safeguarding the Maqasid Shariah in various ways. One of the examples of Maqasid Shariah that should be protected is lineage, which is hifzun nas. Private property right, especially in matters of inheritance, contribute to the preservation of lineage. In Islam, inheritance laws are designed to protect the rights of family members and ensure a fair distribution of wealth among heirs, at the same time safeguarding and the continuity and stability of family structures. The second one is it can relate with fulfillment on basic needs, which is hifzuddin, where social needs are addressed through the emphasis on charity, welfare, and the fulfillment of basic needs. The concept of wakaf, for example, is allow individuals to dedicate their property for charitable purpose, contributing to the well-being of society and fulfilling the Maqasid's objective of protecting religion.
In conclusion, Islam provides a comprehensive perspective on private property rights and social needs, emphasizing a balanced approach that diverges from the extremes of capitalism and socialism. The Fiqh perspective emphasizes the importance of private ownership while imposing limitations and conditions to prevent misuse. Similarly, social needs are acknowledged, but Islam rejects the notion of absolute equality, promoting justice and Sharia-compliant methods for acquiring and distribution wealth. The emphasis on lawful trade, consented agreements, and inheritance regulations aims to ensure social justice, preventing disputes and fostering the well-being of individuals and families within the framework of Islamic teachings.